Ever thought about how Formula 1, the fancy car races, gets to different places worldwide? Well, let's talk about the insane logistics of Formula 1. It's not just about fast cars, but also how they travel, deal with big schedules, and the impact on the environment. Join us to learn about the behind-the-scenes work that makes Formula 1 happen. Formula 1, the topmost motorsports series worldwide, is synonymous with fast cars, the best teams, and glorious victories. Yet, there is much more work behind the scenes to make sure everything gets to each race flawlessly. To move the cars, gear, and people of the 10 teams to more than 20 races on 5 continents in a 9-month season, they use 3 ways of transportation: roads, sky, and water. As all teams are in Europe nowadays, the European races are usually moved by trucks on the road. European races are unique in that the carriers are specially designed trucks and carry the cars, equipment, and tools. The cars are skillfully loaded and packed on top of a raised platform inside the truck to prevent any damages during the trip. These trucks also bring everything that the race weekend will need, that is, spare parts and tools. However, products like tires and fuel are shipped by local partners and contractors who operate on the ground. On the other hand, the case of races beyond Europe, called flyaway races, gets more complex. The items to be transported are divided into 2 types: both critical and non-critical. The main parts, such as chassis, tires, engines, wings, computers, and ICT racks, are important for the race. In addition, the critical parts, such as tools and jacks, are also needed, but they do not change during the season. The least critical components are grouped together and dispatched by sea to different locations beforehand. It may be slower, but this method is more effective as they will arrive on time for the race. It allows the logistical complications to be taken care of when the races are held in far-off places from the team's home base. Before the cars are taken to races, they are taken to pieces until the most basic parts are reached. The engine, transmission, front and rear wings, and other aerodynamic pieces, mirrors, and suspension components are taken off. Each of these items is very well packed in its own foam box, and some of the teams use even the bubble wrap for extra protection. The chassis, the main structure of the car, is covered with custom-made panels. Every team has to use special cargo crates that are designed to fill the available space in the cargo holds of planes to move their gear. Together with DHL, the official logistics partner of F1, Formula 1 management, who are responsible for the organization of F1 events, charters cargo planes from Munich and London since all the teams are based in Europe. This is how they carry all the stuff to the place where the competition will take place. In case of back-to-back events, team must share equipment so that everything works as planned. Every team will take the spare parts to rebuild their cars: 40 tires, 2,500 liters of fuel, 200 liters of motor oil, and 90 liters of coolant. They also bring tools, computers, and food enough to make 200 meals. In total, the larger teams may carry about 50 tons of the equipment with them, while even the smallest teams carry around 30 tons. Along with the growth of Formula 1 as a global phenomenon and visiting more places, the problem of the transportation of teams and their equipment becomes more and more complicated. It follows us to the year 2024, which Formula 1 has set to be the year with the largest number of races, starting with Bahrain in March and ending in Abu Dhabi in November. This covers the Monaco Grand Prix, which was quite doubtful, and the events in Las Vegas and China. It was the decision of Formula 1 owners, Liberty Media, and FIA's World Motorsport Council to create the calendar. Although this calendar is showing the current strength of Formula 1, it also worries some fans and people in the paddock. They quip about more business for divorce lawyers in Oxfordshire, where the majority of F1 teams are based, and are worried about all the extra time they'll be away from home and the massive number of logistics arrangements they will have to do in the coming season. Before the Formula 1 cars are shipped, they're disassembled to their basic bits and pieces. The engine, wings, mirrors, and other parts are removed and then packed carefully. Some of the teams are even more cautious and use bubble wraps. The chassis is covered in the covers made by us. All crews use their own specially made cargo cases to hold their equipment. These crates are engineered to utilize space as much as possible. DHL and Formula 1 management charter cargo planes to deliver the gear from Europe to various locations. To have back-to-back flyaway races, the travel between 2 races should be direct. Teams usually have spare parts, tires, fuel, oil, coolant, tools, computers, even food in addition to their equipment. The largest teams may take up to 50 tons of gear. The other factor, a carbon emission issue that is inherently related to F1's massive logistical operation, is carbon emissions. And that doesn't give much hope by peering through the lens. Formula 1 set new targets 3 years ago for a more sustainable future, and this involves net zero carbon emissions by 2030. However, it seems that Formula 1 has forgotten about their promise to design a more sustainable calendar when they unveiled their new calendar. By 2026, the F1 cars will be powered by 100% sustainable fuels. However, they account for only 0.7% of the sport's total annual carbon footprint. The real track is left by the sport's logistics, which account for nearly half of the sport's total carbon emissions. In the month of June this year, Formula 1 made a statement that acknowledged the impact of its logistics, and that it plans to build future F1 calendars in a way that will make freight and travel logistics more efficient. In reality, if F1 redesigned its 2024 schedule in a way that grouped races by geography, it would be able to lower its logistics carbon emissions by as much as 46%. The cherry on the cake is that we also hear the employees complaining about being overworked. Sebastian Vettel, the 4-time world champion, is of the opinion that a mechanism should be created that enables running the season in a sustainable manner, not only for the environment, but also for the human resource. Other drivers like McLaren's Daniel Ricciardo have also voiced similar worries, and Sergio Perez of Red Bull has even claimed that he might quit the sport if the season goes on any longer. The two latest editions of the sport, namely Las Vegas and Qatar, show what Formula 1 aims for. While Qatar paid $55 million to be featured on the calendar, it was the United States, which paid $100 million. Thus, joining the highest costly contracts on the agenda such as Azerbaijan and Abu Dhabi, whose financial resources are mainly from fossil fuels. Therefore, what are the bosses of the team thinking about? Christian Horner, team boss for Red Bull, was queried on the subject of whether such a demanding calendar with more Grands Prix than the calendar from 10 years ago is right direction for the sport. Meanwhile, Haas team boss Guenther Steiner sees a few issues with next year's crowded calendar. According to him, it simply demonstrates F1's newfound confidence, and it is the sport's responsibility to live up to that. As a result, he is one of the few people who have expressed support for the 2024 schedule. What are your thoughts on F1's 2024 calendar? Is it too ambitious? As environmental consciousness grows, do you believe F1 should be mindful of the amount of emissions it emits? Please let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.